And finally, at number 1, I have Tales of the Arthurian Knights. So this is a reworking of the classic Tales of the Arabian Nights, which was a game that I sadly never had the chance to play, despite really wanting to. But when I heard that WizKids were relaunching the game or reworking the game based on the Arthurian legends, I knew this was a game that I had to pick up because, the Arthurian legends, medieval stuff, and that's right up my alley. It's one of my favourite themes in board gaming and just books and everything. So I love anything to do with chivalry, knights, and so on. So be aware, this game is barely a board game, although it is a game you play on a board. Mechanically, there's next to nothing going on here, just a few dice rolls and building up some stats. So think of it more of a storytelling game, more of a role-playing adjacent game than a traditional board game where you're making tons of decisions. More of a choose-your-own-adventure, if you want to put it that way. But essentially, you have your own knight character, and with a bunch of stats, your sword and shield fighting, your mounted ability, and so on. And as the game goes on, you're sliding up these tracks, getting more powerful, getting better skills, which will effectively mitigate your dice rolls, making them a lot stronger when it comes to these encounters that you'll run into as you are traveling around the map trying to complete your missions. Now, I suppose the cool thing about this game is all about this story of, or this book of tales, if you want to put it that way, where when you come into a certain location, you'll draw a card and it will say refer to this passage in the book, and then you'll read the spiel from that particular passage, which can be tons of different things that you'd expect, fantastical things, heroic deeds and so on. But you are, of course, allowed to make the choices on what path you want to go down. So just as a pluck out of the air example, maybe you're going through the woods and you bump into a king, and the king has been stray too far from his kind of hunting party, so you're alone with him. Do you try and guide him back to his party and hope to get rewarded that way, or do you just say, to hell with it, let's rob him right now and spend the rest of the game looking over my shoulder, because you're going to gain a bad reputation and stuff like that, but you might have got a quick gain. So again, you're getting legend points, you're improving your stats, you're collecting items that will let you do powerful abilities or let you get out of sticky situations if you really need it. You're gaining traits as well, or different kind of things that could affect your character, like paranoia, or maybe you're feeling especially brave, or there's someone following you. You've got companions that will help you through different situations, and so on. So, the game is a mishmash of random encounters, but the stories you can tell over the course of the game are really enjoyable. I think the book is well written. The choices you can make are very interesting as well. Yes, it does all come down to a dice roll, but if you really get into it and you don't focus too much on the dice rolling and just focus on how those encounters are going and trying to, I suppose, get into it, then you can get a lot of fun from this game. So for me, this is almost like a timepiece game that I'll keep for the rest of my life. It's a game that I'm not going to really play very often, maybe even just once or twice a year, but when I do play it, I want to make an event of it. I want everyone to know what they're getting into when they play it. Prepare for just a night of storytelling, put the medieval music on, light some scented candles and so on, and really get into the vibe of the Arthurian legends. So again, a bit different from me, maybe it's not the normal kind of game that I play, but recently I have started to dip my toe into these styles of games. Recently I covered Lands of Galzir on the channel, which I did also enjoy. For me, this one is just it's that same kind of thing, but more tailored towards me, because I prefer the setting and the idea and the concept of fighting dragons and going through dungeons and fighting bandits much more than the cutie little critters that you get from a game like Lands of Galzir. But I think if you like the original Tales of the Arabian Nights, I believe this one's a little bit more muted, maybe not in terms of the breadth of encounters. It's maybe a little bit zany, a little bit less wacky, a little bit less zany than the original one, but it still is compelling. I think the storytelling is good. There's some really epic things that can happen and that do happen, and I was very impressed with the system in its entirety. I suppose I'm a little bit apprehensive about the replayability, hence why I'm not going to play it very often. Yes, there are thousands of different entries into that storybook, but I don't want to be overexposing it, hence why I only want to play it a few times a year. so that every time I'm going into it, it feels fresh to me and I'm not going to know what I'm going to run into. Also, the scalability, I think maybe with 3 or 4 players, be prepared for a longer game. I know we played a 3-player game of this one recently and it took, I think, 2.5 to 3 hours. So again, be prepared for it to be long. I think 2 players might be the sweet spot, but 3 players is, if you want to share that experience with more people, it's probably a good option as well. 4 players, again, be prepared with what you're getting into because it's going to take quite a long time. Looks lovely, clean mechanically, lots going on, but still all comes down to that storytelling. That is the Tales of the Arthurian Knights at number 1.